Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Puran and I've just recently opened my YouTube channel and I'm very excited to come back with another reading vlog, and it would be my first reading vlog of 2026, which I'm very excited about. So much situation is a bit weird and awkward when I tell you I don't have any access to the worldwide internet, and it has been a week since I lost access. I mean, all the people in Iran have lost access to the internet. I'm not joking. And that's something I don't wish to talk about in my channel, but know that when I started this reading vlog, and even when I filmed my previous one, I didn't have any access to the internet. That doesn't stop us from having fun and read new books. So my parents announced to me today that we are taking a trip to North, a very lush, magical place that all I want to do when I'm there is to sit, have my cup of tea, and read a good book. And I have quite a TBR for this reading vlog, and I'm currently in the middle of a book which I'm gonna talk about. So my TBR is a bit ambitious, but I'm excited about every single one of them. So the first one is Wisteria by Adam Grace, which I'm on page 200 out of 300. And I must say, I'm eating it up. I was very nervous about Foxglove, but I ended up loving it, so I had to start Wisteria right after that. If you read Belladonna series, you know what I mean. I don't particularly love Blythe, but I kinda love her stubbornness and how he fights with fate, even though we knew their backstory. And I just love how she's like a wild animal and how you can never make her to do something. She always has her rights, has her opinion on things, and you can never force her into doing anything. So about Fate, he's like quite the opposite. He has such a high ego, but at the same time, I think he's such a calm mannered man. Someone who can like make you relax and calm in life if you're like his wife and in his life. And I think that's something that women are looking for in a man. It's just there's something about his manners as a lover inspirable. So here's my TBR for this reading vlog. The first one is Jane Eyre. So I wanted to read this one in fall, but I couldn't. But no problem, I'm gonna read it otherwise, since I don't have anything else to do. I mean, my exams are online. God knows how I'm gonna pass them, but I don't have access to the internet. But that's an excuse to keep reading thick books and enjoying them. I assume that Jane Eyre kinda has this gothic theme, but I'm not sure because I never read anything about Jane Eyre. I just saw some quotes, and I think it's kind of a feminist book because it's fighting for the women's right. The next one is Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. If I enjoy this one, I'm gonna upload it right after that. We'll see what happens. I hope I end up loving it, so I will upload it right after it, because I've heard Uprooted and Spinning Silver are such magical, whimsical books that if you're a true fantasy reader, you should read these right now. Do not miss a chance to read it. I have no idea what this one's about. I did want to research, but I couldn't. But I love this illustration of the cover. Like, there were other editions as well, but there was something about this cover that catch my eyes. And mind you that blue is actually my favorite color, so why not owning this one? The next one is a play by Shakespeare called A Midsummer Night's Dream. I mean, it's weird, it's awkward, but I love a nice awkward read. So I'm looking forward to reading it after Wisteria, or maybe not, because I need internet to read it because there are some phrases, they're so hard. But I believe the story is taking place between the town Athens and a magical forest, which you cannot tell the difference between reality and magic. And it has betrayal, it has love triangle, I guess. But I shall see because no information found. And the last but not least is Ninth House by Lee Bardugo. We all know Lee Bardugo and her magical writing. I hope this one is quite interesting as Six of Crows, because I love Crows, but at the same time I hated Shadow and Bone series. So not sure about this one, but I have high hopes. I think it's magical dark academia themed, and the story is about this girl who gets into a weird house called the Ninth House, which they do witchy stuffs and dark things. That's all I know about it, and I'm very excited. I hope it has some mystery theme because I'm craving mystery right now. And when the book has mystery, I'm more eager to read it. That's pretty much my TBR. I'm planning on doing things like painting, journaling. So I should take the supplies with me when we're traveling to North, which is something normal because whenever we are traveling, I always take my journaling stuffs and supplies. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I will announce you when I did something interesting to worth capturing. But yeah, thank you. See you in another update. Hello guys, welcome back to my video. So I'm officially here with my first update of this reading vlog, and I'm very excited because I have finished the book. I'm in the middle of the book and I've just started the book. So we're gonna talk about them in a minute. As I told you guys, I was in a internet blackout for 21 days, and now I'm back online, but my access is very limited. So you might watch my videos a bit late, especially my 2026 TBR, because I recorded that a month ago, and when I wanted to upload it, suddenly an internet blackout. Very exciting, right? Let's talk about my updates. So I finished Wisteria. It was the first book I started reading in this reading vlog. And I guess the last time I talked to you guys, I had already started it, or maybe not, I don't remember. But now I have finished it. I mean, I finished it a few days ago, but I thought it would be fun to talk about it when I moved on from the book. You know what I'm saying? Because when I finish a book, I'm too emotional about it that I might just give it a 5 star immediately. So I have to settle for a bit and think about it so I would talk about it better. I'm just gonna say I ate up every single page. I love the Beauty and the Beast retelling atmosphere that it had. It was very easy to see, especially when Aris left dishes behind Blythe's door. And since she loves eating delicious food, he knew how to soften her. And I love that because the same thing happened to Belle. But the thing is, Belle was in love with books, so the Beast gave her his whole library. It's just so similar, right? Aris's character was a lot more lovable than Foxglove. He was like a pain in the back in Foxglove. He was very annoying, interrupting Signa and this relationship without any research, without any proof that life is Signa. Like, please, at least make sure before interrupting the relationship and ruining everything. But I loved life a lot more than Blythe. Blythe was just so annoying, especially in Foxglove. Like, I was listening to the audiobook, and whenever she talked, I was like, please, keep your mouth shut. But in Wisteria, she was having a character development, and that made me love her a lot more because she was officially becoming an adult and rather than just being a spoiled girl. And that's all I was asking from Adeline Grace. But Blythe was still Blythe, you know what I'm saying? But life was just so composed, so lovable, so sweet, and so much prettier. But I did like them both, but life is my preference, let's say. And you can already tell she was my favorite character from the whole series. Don't mistake me, I loved Signa, but it was just not the character I would relate to. But Life is exactly the kind of characters I love to read about in books. And I wish we had more Death and Signa moments because I really loved Signa. I loved her character especially when she was very annoying, trying her best to be accepted and fitted into society. But at the end of Foxglove, when she was living in her own mansion, she became that character, you know what I'm saying? She became that woman that knows her powers, knows how to use them for her loved ones. But the same thing happened to Signa. She was kind of annoying in book one, but she had an excellent character development in book two. And I love it when authors know how to make a character better so the the readers would love them more. What I really loved about the whole series that will forever have a special place in my heart and be memorable is that every single book in the series had its own atmosphere and vibe. Like you never get tired of the atmosphere of the book, the whole setting, the characters. Like even the characters felt different in each book. In book one, Signa was like very traumatized, very frightened, but in book two, she was like powerful, and in book three, she looked like a married woman. With that being said, let's move on to our next book, which is Night House by Lee Bardugo. I'm on page 197, almost let's say 200. I'm a bit confused. Like, I started this book knowing nothing, and even if I did read anything about it, I wouldn't understand anything because it's a very complicated book, and I think that's what Lee Bardugo was going for. That's what she wanted from her readers. So you would feel as confused as Alex, the main character in the book. Let me give you a brief summary about the whole story. We are following Alex, a simple girl with the ability to see the ghosts and dead ones. And after something that happened to her when she was 8, she turned her back to her family, to everyone, and started smoking and doing a lot more darker things that we are not going to talk about it. But now her hands are covered in tattoos that she got when she was very young and doing a lot of dark stuffs. But I'm sure she doesn't feel confident about them, but like she's constantly thinking about covering them. I think it's because it reminds her of her own dark times that she did a lot of dark stuffs. But after a murder happened when she was smoking and summoning a ghost with her friends, she ended up with her friends dead, and she became totally traumatized. I mean, she was traumatized already, but it was like the final shot. And after a few days, a guy came to her. His name was Dean Sandow, I guess. He's like the manager of the ninth house, the Leslie house, which I'm gonna tell you what that is. He offered her a scholarship for Yale University, and in Yale University there are 8 houses that they do paranormal rituals. So the Leslie house kinda supervise them. They're the ninth house and they watch over every house, so they won't disobey the rules, let's say. Every house has its own name and stuff that they do. For example, there was this one called Wolfhead that they were shapeshifters. They actually turn to animals. One thing that confused me in this book is that we're constantly switching from past to present and seeing how Darlington, the what we call it, the senior of Alex, disappeared due to some rituals, let's say, and a girl has been killed, and very weird stuffs are happening to Alex. Some ghosts, some savage wild ghosts are attacking her, and she is close to die, let's say. Like she is totally in danger that she doesn't understand. She needs Darlington to find out what's going on, but he is totally gone because he was her instructor and helped her when she entered the ninth house for the first time. And they have kind of made it a bond, a very strong bond that I think would help Alex find where Darlington is and bring him back. And I've heard we're gonna find out what exactly happened to Darlington in chapter 12, which I'm on chapter 11, so it's not so far. Due to my research, there are gonna be great plot twists from now on, and the pace would be very fast. So I'm very excited. Can't wait to finish it because it's kind of a mystery book, and I'm very excited to find out the dark things that lays behind the story, because I know that's not all the things that's going on. I need to find out. At last, I've just started A Midsummer Night's Dream by Shakespeare. I finished Act 1, Scene 1, and I'm gonna talk about it when I read more of it because I'm kind of confused, and let me tell you, it's not an easy book to read. You know, it's a play. Of course, it's not easy. And the names in this book are a bit hard to pronounce, like Theseus, Lysandra, Hermia, I guess. Was it Hermia? Yes, it was Hermia. I'm gonna talk about it when I actually finish the whole Act 1. Um, it's a very short book, so I don't think it would be very hard to finish since I'm actually studying it with one of my friends, and we are both excited because it has the whole thing I'm looking for in a book: the atmosphere, the writing, and also the fantasy elements. So I can't wait to see what happens. I'm sure it's gonna be very dramatic, so let's see. Other than finishing these two books, I have other plans. So I bought a puzzle a few days ago. It's like a wooden puzzle. It's nothing I've ever done before, so I'm kind of nervous, but I bet it's gonna be so easy since it's only 166 pieces. So I'm gonna do that, and I'll of course show you guys the process of doing the puzzle. It's one of my favorite activities other than reading. I'm gonna make a special spread for my February reading vlog, or all the books that I'm gonna read in February. I kind of have some visions of how I want it to turn out. And excuse my voice, I think I catch the cold from my sister. And I actually did make two spreads for my 2026 reading journey, which I'm gonna show you guys in my journaling video. I mean the part that I'm gonna work on my journal for February TBR. So I'm gonna show you guys the process. I hope you enjoyed this update. See you. Hello everyone, welcome back to another update. I'm back with so many good news because I have finished Night House and I have finished A Midsummer Night's Dream. So we're gonna talk about them in a minute. So the last time I talked to you guys, I think I was in the middle of Night House and I told you how horrified I am with the dark theme. And the same story goes on till the end of the book, and I was like getting horrified even more because so many dark things happened in the Alex's past, and I was like, what the heck? How could someone even write something like that? I was kind of afraid of Lee Bardugo because I hadn't seen this side of her, and now that I have, I know what she's capable of. In Atmos, at the end of the book, it was like 10 pages left. We discover a shocking plot twist, and I didn't see that coming. Like, I had no idea something that horrifying is going to happen. And that was related to one of the most interesting murder case. It was about a bridegroom, like a bride and a groom, and so the theory was that the groom was murdered and he also murdered his wife. But at the end of the book, we discover what really happened and where his bride is. And honestly, that was the only interesting part for me. Like, I love a good plot twist that you cannot foresee. So I gave it a 2 star only because of the plot twist. Like, the rest of the book was pretty annoying, especially the characters. Our main character, Alex Stern, is trying to solve the murder case of Tara Hutchins, and in the process of finding out who killed Tara, she finds out so many disturbing things, and she finally discovers what happened to Darlington. And I think Hellbent would be more interesting than this. Like, I know I told you guys that I'm not going to read Hellbent, but I received it as a gift. So it kind of would be mean not to read it because it's a gift. We will see if Alex could be able to rescue Darlington in Hellbent or not. And I think we're gonna see more of their relationship in Hellbent because I was really interested in their story, but we didn't get enough information about them, or we didn't have enough time to see how they will deal each other. So I'm very interested about their story, but at the same time, I'm tired of this dark theme. So Alex's character was so uninteresting. Like, it might be interesting to some people, but to me, she was like a pain in the back. But she was very, very reckless, and that's the only thing I loved about her. Like, I know she was afraid sometimes, but she did what she had to do, and I honestly love that. Surprisingly, my favorite character of the book was Alex's mom. I know, but she's such a kind woman. Absolutely loved her. I was fine with Dawes and Darlington, but like, didn't stand out. Professor blah blah blah. What was her name? Bubblegum? No, Bellbaum. Professor Bellbaum was like a total jump scare. Like, from the moment she stepped into the story, I knew she's gonna be horrifying. And she did end up being very scary. But here we are, done with Night House. I told you guys that I gave it a 2 stars. It was even too much. So, goodbye. Next but not least, we have A Midsummer Night's Dream by William Shakespeare. I loved it. Every single page was so interesting that I was so afraid it will be finished so soon. But at the same time, the ending was perfect. It was marvelous. Like, I was very afraid we will have a terrible ending, but we didn't. And I was actually body reading it, actually body studying it with friends. And look, it was just so amusing. The whole theme in the forest, I loved it. The only annoying thing was the love triangles, maybe even rectangles. It was very weird. So, we were following our main characters, let me tell you. Lysander, Hermia, Helena, and Demetrius. So, Hermia loves Lysander, and Lysander loves Hermia. But Demetrius is an ambitious man who actually loves Hermione's dad because he's very wealthy, but he pretends to be loving Hermione as well. But Hermione doesn't love him. So he's like a pain in the back in the whole story. And at the same time, we have Helena. So Helena and Hermione were best friends since childhood, and now he loves Demetrius, who loves Hermione. It's pretty crazy. But so they're planning to escape, Hermione and Lysandre, but they tell Helena, and Helena tells whom? Demetrius, to kind of win his love, but it doesn't work, honestly. So they go to the forest, and Demetrius and Helena go to the forest as well. So crazy things happen there because of the fairy king. So fairy king is in love with the fairy queen, but the fairy queen is obsessed with his it's not actually her child, it's one of her friend's child. So she's obsessed with the child, an Indian child, and he is kind of jealous of the child. I know it sounds stupid, but guess what he does? He tells his assistant, whose name is Puck. I'm literally afraid of Puck. He does crazy stuff in the story, but he tells him to find this flower, and when they drop 2 drops of the flower's juice into the eyes of someone, the next person that he sees when he wakes up would be his lover, and they would fall in love with them. I know. Imagine if they drop it in your eyes and you wake up to see a donkey, you will be in love with the donkey. And that actually happens in the story. So I'm not going to tell you the whole story of it, but Titania, the fairy queen, was my favorite character. Absolutely loved her. She was an literal icon. Never get tired of A Midsummer Night's Dream. I love to reread it every few months, but we will see if that happens or not because I have a whole TBR. It was a crazy ending, but it was very, very sensible. Everything was at its place and it was a happy ending, so I can't complain. The whole events of the book was like a Midsummer Night's Dream, you know what I'm saying? Because when they woke up, they were like, I had a crazy dream last night, guys. You won't believe me if I tell you. At the end, I'm on chapter 10 of Jane Eyre. I know this edition is looking rough, but trust me, it's for the library, so I don't care. I will definitely buy the physical copy if I like it, but let me give you a summary because I didn't when I was talking about my 2026 TBR and this video's TBR. We are following an orphan called Jane Eyre who was adopted by her aunt, but her aunt was a fine man. But after he died, she got adopted by his wife. Actually, she was forced to adopt her. But crazy things happen when her aunt dies. So her aunt's wife and her children abuse her so much. They even hit her. But nobody believes Jane when she says she was locked up in a room called the Red Room where her aunt was dead. And that's why some crazy things happen. They got into a fight, her and her cousin, and she was hit so bad. Like, I think he threw something towards Jane, and she was literally knocked out. Her aunt didn't believe her, and she was sent to this school called Lowood, which from the name it's obvious how terrible that is. The head of the school is called Mr. Luxhead, something like that. And there is this nice teacher. I don't think, yeah, she's a teacher, but at the same time, she's kind of a manager, an employee. She's a nice woman. She always supports Jane. She's just so kind-hearted and very nice. I kind of love her character, honestly. I love extremely kind teachers, and she's one of those that one time their breakfast, the students' breakfast, was burned. They couldn't possibly eat anything till dinner. So she bought them breakfast with her own money. I knew from that moment she's gonna be my favorite character, But at the same time, there is this student who is like close to Jane, but I feel like something terrible is going to happen to her because kind students, life is not always kind to them the way they are kind to people. So she gets punished for the most stupid reason because she didn't organize her desk, or I don't know, she didn't make her bed, which is insane. She gets heavily punished for that. She's friends with Jane, and her name is Helena. Helena something. Her and Jane have a strong connection with Mrs. Temple, my favorite character. So I think so many terrible things are going to happen in that school. But honestly, I love the recklessness of Jane. It kind of reminds me of Alex, but like in a nice way. And right now, Jane is 10 years old, maybe 9, close to 10. But she's telling the story from the time she's an adult. So it's like a diary, it's like a diary telling. And I love books like that. They're my favorite. So I'm loving the tone, the writing. We all know Charlotte Bronte. The Bronte series are excellent at writing books. Like Wuthering Heights, I absolutely loved that book when I was a teenager. So interested to see what I think about the next sister. The Jane Eyre is like a feminism book, and I'm reading it for a prompt in a reading challenge, which you're supposed to read a book about feminism, and I think it represents feminism in that era. And I love that how stubborn Jane Eyre is, but like in her own benefit, she has to be, or people would treat her like a trash just because she's an orphan. So she doesn't let people take advantage of her. I hope that still continues on till the end of the book because I don't want to be disappointed with Jane. I like her so far, and I'm very hopeful that I will love her till the end of the book. And she would be one of my favorite characters from classic female characters. I don't think I will read Spinning Silver in this reading vlog because we're almost done with the week and I need to finish Jane Eyre because I need to post this before February ends, or at least on March 1st. So my main focus is on Jane Eyre, but after I was done with the vlog, I will definitely read my other February or March TBR because I was planning on reading some Scottish mythology books or Spinning Silver or Uprooted. So I will definitely choose one or two of them and read it for myself. But I will definitely let you guys know if I did. So thank you for staying with me in this update. The next update will be me reviewing all the books I read in this vlog, as well as telling you guys my final opinions on Jane Eyre, which I can already tell crazy things are going to happen, and I'm ready for them. I'm ready for crazy events. See you guys. everyone, welcome to the last update of this reading vlog. I'm here to announce that I have finished Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, and I have a lot to say about Jane and Mr. Rochester. So gather your tea, we're gonna talk for a while. I have come to that conclusion to realize that each Bronte sister has its own atmosphere over their works. So as for Emily Bronte, known for her Wuthering Heights book, I would say that was a gothic, gloomy situation with a very complicated love story. But I would say I rather liked Wuthering Heights more than Jane Eyre, but they're totally different worlds, you know? They're not really easy to compare, so it's not like I only like Wuthering Heights. I like some elements in Jane Eyre, like the love story and the tension between Jane Eyre and Mr. Rochester. I believe their love was so pure and innocent that even the readers at first did not believe Mr. Rochester, but at the end of the book, when we heard his words, we realized that it was pure love from the beginning, from the first moment he saw Jane in the forest. And by the way, the weather has got so sunny. I'm telling you, it was gloomy, stormy, and rainy situation just yesterday, and it's surprisingly warm. Like, the weather does not know what it's doing. So let's get back to our Jane. I believe Jane was quite stupid the way she reacted when she discovered the truth about Mr. Rochester, and that was very over dramatic. Like, she didn't have to react that way, run away from Thornfield and react like that. But at the same time, I believe that was the main part of the story where Jane discovered the truth about her cousins and found them. But like, I rather read more about Mr. Rochester and Jane himself. I know that at the end of the book there was some information given, but I needed to learn more about them and more moments with them. That was something I did not get in this book. And I think Jane's annoying character. She was a feminist character, of course, and the fact that I read this for a feminist book prompt, but at the same time, I believe she acted way too crazy because she could have gained that independence with Mr. Rochester as well. And she would eventually find out the truth about her aunt. Like, that was not a big deal. She still acted childish and emotionally, I would say. I think if they settle for a bit and talk the matters out, nothing like this would happen. But at the same time, I know that crazy woman would burn Jane to the ground. So it's like a double-edged sword. So I'm not sure how to think of it. I'm a bit confused about my emotions because at the same time that I love Jane, I hated her decisions. And I know that she hated them herself. But that was the process of gaining that independence. I would say my favorite classic character was Mr. Rochester, and the actual love that he had for Jane and that pure innocent tension between them was everything I always loved reading about, and they became my favorite characters, favorite couples. But when I was reading The Berry Giant, I thought the elderly couples in that character would be my favorite, but I was wrong, and I have changed my mind when I read Jane Eyre. And the fact that it was like a diary made that even more special. I think that was everything I wanted to say about Jane Eyre. I didn't end up reading Spinning Silver because I was so busy with assignments and tasks, but maybe I will read it in March. That's something I would love to do, honestly. But even if I don't get the chance, I will definitely read it in 2026 generally, because it was on my top priority for this year and uprooted as well, honestly. Those are two Naomi Novik books that I am eager to read this year. And at the same time, I was reading 2 chapters on Spinning Silver yesterday, and it captured my attention from the first moment. Like, the writing it was very interesting, and I'm eager to see how it will goes on as the story unfolds. So I'm excited to read it. I'm passionate. We will see if my long list of TBR would let me read it in March, but at the same time I have already books in my March. I'm very sincere about putting it in my TBR as well, so hopefully that will happen. And thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know what books you're reading in March, and in February what books did you rate 5 stars. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. It means the world. Bye.